What's happening, guys? How's your election? Day going? Pretty uneventful, right? Not a whole lot happening these days, right? As far as I can tell.
Actually, it's a pretty crazy world. You should maybe talk about that.
Chill. Let's do it. So, it's good to see you guys. It's another stream, another day. I greet you with the warmest heart that I can possibly muster. Sometimes that's actually pretty cold, but, we do what we can. We do what we can, and, I trust that you yourself are... I trust you yourself are doing the best you can as well. So, let's just get into it. No need to overthink things, right? At least as far as America goes, everything seems to be just swirling in uncertainty and doubt and fear and all those other sort of good emotions, although there really is sort of a sinking feeling. I get a feeling like I know what's actually going to happen here. But it's hard to say out loud, especially while, watching your words extra carefully. So, yeah, before I don't know, get myself canceled here by saying the wrong thing, we should probably just read, see what's going on here. Because I try to think still. I definitely still try to think. But I also just sort of want to just read and see what other people are telling me to think. That's really like the consensus these days, right? As far as internet and fake news and the whole sort of storyline. You should not think for yourself. You should not encourage others to think for themselves. You should really just listen to trusted sources of media and sort of default to whatever they're telling you, because they're probably going to know better than you, right? So here's an interesting article, right? And these, I guess from a couple hours ago. We're trying to get as cutting edge as we possibly can around here, but it's not always the case, right? This article's from 8 hours ago. Rupert Murdoch owned U.S. outlets turn on Trump, urging him to act with grace, right? I think the thing that's freaking everybody out right now was this sort of speech that Mr. T-Man made from his press room there over at the good old Oval Office, and I guess he was saying maybe some things that weren't true or possibly inflammatory, but what everybody seems to be focusing on is the fact that they would not show this on the major media outlets, that as soon as he started talking, they had to cut away because it was just too fake. It was too many lies and just not something you could responsibly broadcast out to millions of people. Not like that ever really stopped them before. Jesus. But that's definitely right, all the way up to the president of the United States. If you do start saying things that are not true, and right, by not true, I would mean not following the narrative and the rules that are set out and are made very clear by every single possible news article that you do read these days. If you're not following those rules, and even if you are the president of the United States, you will be canceled. You'll get cut off. You will not be given that airtime. And even right, Rupert Murdoch is traditionally known as something, well, they just would go along with it. Everything conservative and everything inflammatory, that used to be sort of the name of their game, and this really is sort of a sea change to see Fox News and the rest of them sort of turning on Trump and saying, chill out, bro. You got to stop saying fake things because fake things are bad, right? And it's just sort of hilarious because that's sort of all they do. That's their bread and butter, is saying fake things and lying to you, and it never really seemed to stop them before, but this has now become sort of a huge problem. And well, I guess we won't really know until a while from now. Probably next. I don't know. Maybe next week. Maybe the following week. It's definitely still going to have to be some recounts and stuff. But this, I guess, Georgia. I guess I'm not following this as closely as I should be, but Georgia seems like it's going to be very close, and they may indeed have to do a recount, and that'll drag things out a little bit longer. But I think it's all in everybody's best interest to keep this sort of uncertainty and fear going on as long as possible, because it really sort of destabilizes your spirit and your soul when you don't know, right? In any case, if you don't know what you're gonna be doing this evening, and you would like to know, that might make you feel uncertain and unsettled. If you don't know, are you going to go to dinner? Are you going to go to a movie? Right? Just who knows? Maybe anything could happen. And especially with the fate and balance of the country just sort of being in question, that'll really throw you off balance. And as we've sort of looked at and studied before, that's the best way to keep people in control and in line, and just off balance, right? Keep them fighting, keep them angry.
You said it, dog.
I did find this headline pretty interesting, although it's Washington Post, so we can't even click in there and read the article. Not that that's really a problem, because, well, if I want to read something from the CIA, I'd probably just go to the CIA website instead of the Washington Post, just personally. John Lewis's former district may have flipped Georgia blue. It's seen by some as divine revenge. And this is one of my favorite media tactics, right? Is that sort of fear of missing out, that bandwagon effect where they just say, well, dude, there's like a bunch of people thinking this way. There's a whole bunch of people. Are you going to be not one of these people? Because that would be pretty dumb, because the crowd is going in this direction. Seen by some. I mean, smart people see this way. But are you smart? That's the question the Washington Post is asking you in this headline. Are you smart? Are you a goddamn moron? It's a question I'll leave to yourself. I can't answer this for you. If you're a goddamn moron or if you're smart, that's just something you personally have to decide for yourself. Not that I'm calling you a goddamn moron. Well, that would be something mean to say, and that's not something I would ever do, I'm trying to get out here and read some news articles and try to bring some kindness back into the world, because it's just it's like evaporated. Everybody's yelling at you to just believe this and think that and follow this line. And did you get in on the latest blank? Oh, you missed it? Well, I'm sorry. You're a goddamn idiot. I'm sorry. No, right? This is not me this talking. This is these guys. So I think you are incredibly intelligent. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying to yourself, I think you are a incredibly intelligent being, and you should respect that. Although that is pretty hard to do sometimes. Anyways, I did want to check this out because I put it in the headline. Those of you that don't know, maybe you do. Fidelity is one of the largest sort of investment money giant factories that exists in the world, and they're always trying to get there on the cutting edge and just make tons of money. And I'm not saying the finance is a pretty dark place, right? A lot of evil people there stealing money from each other, and sort of the name of the game in finance is to be as shady as you possibly can, and basically convince people, just like those news articles, to buy into something. And then as soon as everybody gets super excited about it and is really just thinking they're going to be able to pay off their house or something, you then are supposed to sell those people's monies with your shares and take all the money for yourself. And that's really sort of the basics of finance. Get people to give you money, and then as soon as they've given it to you, you sell your shares, and well, all of a sudden your money isn't worth as much anymore. And but that's neither here nor there with this article. We're trying to track the the evolution of the cryptocurrency landscape. And this, I think, is pretty exciting just in general for the growth, because in that theme, we really do need to get more regular people out there to start buying Bitcoin and other sort of digital assets, because, well, the price will just go up, and that will be a good day. And then it's sort of just on you to figure out when to sell it, when everybody's really sort of piled in there. And I don't think it's even, we haven't even gotten close to that yet, right? Because we see these major institutions just now setting up the mechanisms for control and exploitation of this system, right? So Fidelity, giant financial thing, they're used to just spending money on, leverage trading and other sort of traditional market things. But it sounds like, yeah, they've hired over 100 different people to be doing crypto related things, possibly programming, right? They have engineers, which means they may be developing software or new cryptocurrencies themselves. And it's hard to know exactly what they're going to do. We don't know exactly, but all of that is sort of very positive news for the space in general, right? Passionate, innovative developers. I'd say that's a good thing. So that's that. Man, I gotta fix that audio. It is super annoying to me personally. I don't know how you feel about it. I find that annoying when it's making the glitching sounds. Okay, so now we're into the weather section. I'm gonna try to keep it pretty strict here because, well, I'm just looking for some more discipline in my life. Now, this has been a very interesting day, actually. If we look over at like right here, this line, this is where this day started. We have been sort of just exploding in the price. We are here looking at Bitcoin itself. Let me just give you the full sort of vision here, right? This is Bitcoin to the dollar. And just yesterday, we seem to have sort of reached these really high watermarks here of about almost 16,000. And that's what you will notice because, yeah, I mean, I personally don't even really like money. I've never been much of a money person. I'm really bad with it. Have always sort of accumulated debt and just bought candy bars and cheeseburgers and not really thought too much about it. But it turns out, yeah, that's not really how you make money or save money. So I'm trying to change things a little bit. But what you will notice in this finance kind of situation is the people that are really smart, the people that are actually making the money and doing the money making are they tend to play with sort of perception and fake you out with that, right? So yesterday we saw this huge sort of rise up, man. It was just ripping, and this is really pretty special if you're not that familiar with the space, right? Just in the space of a one or 2 days, let's just go from the 5th up to the peak. That's almost 14%, which for Bitcoin itself is actually a ginormous move. It does not normally do those kind of things. So this is making everybody very excited and hoping that the future, post 20K gigantic explosion will be coming very soon. Right, but what they do like to do is play with these sort of round numbers and then fake you out there, right? So maybe you were hoping to sell right there at 1600, but the thing is that 1600 never came. We didn't make it. We didn't make it to that at least not yet. So right, if you were one of these smart dudes, at least in this sort of short-term phase, you would have sold right here, around here, 15.9. It's probably what you would have done, 15.8, and that would have been a really smart sell. That would have got you the best possible moment there. And we've seen ever since then, since the 6th, it has been sort of accumulating, let's say, and selling down. And right now we just did have sort of a pretty serious drop off, and that is another 5% that we're seeing there down. And it really is sort of right in this last sort of hour really been dipping down. And right, I'm not aware of your personal experience with technical analysis and that whole thing. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, and this is definitely not financial advice. I really don't know what's going to happen with this thing. But anytime we are under this red line, or this line turns red, that means less good. But just like all the other things that I have spent some time talking about with this sort of satanic culture that we live in, you have to think of everything in reversals, right? When you see pain and suffering, if you're a lizard person, if you're one of those Satanists, if you see pain and suffering, that's where you go. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for, because that's where the juice comes out of, right? That's where the good times rolls. So a true Satanist or good trader will always be looking for this pain and suffering, and then basically looking for an opportunity to buy that pain and suffering away from people, so they can just go back to sleep, right? But that's really the moment when you are supposed to be doing the opposite of what you would think, right? Instead of getting out and quitting, oh, it's crashing, it's all going downhill. That's exactly that point when you're going to get in. And here we are on the bleeding edge of this exact moment in time. And after this huge sort of crash down, we are seeing some pretty strong buy signals, some pretty strong candles happening, right? This little thing down here represents sort of the volume and how much money is flowing into the coin at any given time. And as you can see, this green line is a lot taller than the other lines around here, right? So this is going to be the biggest buy that we've seen since, well, I can't even see a bigger one since about the 6th, right? That's about the same size of buy over here, and that is sort of a trip, right? So that is hopefully meaning that we are going to bounce back pretty hard from there, and hopefully head into more good times. But yeah, it is interesting, no matter what you are doing. To me, if you're not even trading or not remotely interested in finance in any way, it still happens to be a good way to study that dark Satanist sort of mindset. And well, I'm not saying I want to become one of them myself, but it still is interesting to consider this mindset. And well, I think it will make you understand news articles and everything else that's going on in this world a little bit better when you see this reversal that happens here on the charts, right? You celebrate suffering and pain, and you buy it. And just when everybody's getting extremely excited about something and just, man, it's never going to stop, this is where the good times are happening, that's when you cut them off at the knees and reject that happiness. You sell that happiness before it can be completed. And that's as far as I can tell, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So anyways, we should look at these other coins real quick while we still have the time. Man, this show just flies by. I have trouble believing it sometimes, actually. So if we look at Ethereum, our other sort of number 2 coin in the world at this point, it's all sort of lined up, right? Right here around 3 o'clock my time here, there was just a massive sell-off. This was down almost 6% just in 2 hours, right? So if you were smart enough to get out here, or another thing that evil traders do would be to bet on the fact that it is going to fail and fall down, and right, you can add leverage to that as well, so you can actually make money off this crashing down like that. And that is just another sort of deeper, more evil way to suck money out of this market, if you can really sort of predict those things. But it is interesting that around this time, around 3 o'clock my time, the same crash was happening in the Bitcoin as it was in the Ethereum, right? And really, if we look around the board, what are some of our other major coins? Band is another very interesting coin. Right around the same time, massive sell-off. And some of these smaller coins are just much more sensitive to what's happening here, right? So Band, almost 17% just in those 2 hours, right? And that's either serious money that you lost, or something, a knife that you escaped from, or, well, maybe you shorted it and then you still made a bunch of money that way. But if we look around, what's another one I wanted to look at? If we look at Link is another big one that's in the news. These are all sort of major coins that have been around for quite some time, right? We do see the same sell-off around that time. Link only lost 10%. But 10% could be pretty serious depending on the money that you're working with, right? That's something that you will try to avoid. But as we see, right, we can zoom in and see these little candles glowing up. It is definitely bouncing back from there, bouncing back pretty quickly actually at this moment. And that's always something to expect from these markets, these cycles. And right, I love to just, you know me, I love to think symbolically. This is just how the world works. There's no way to get out of these cycles. Some people are always going to get overly excited about something, invest too much time or energy or money into something until you get sick of it. And then there has to be a new fad. There has to be something else happening, right? And when we're looking at a market like this, there really aren't that many people in it still at this point. There really aren't. Not that many people. So sort of rash decisions can really affect what's going on there. And because it is such a small market, I do find it fascinating from a human psychology point of view, what's going on there, right? If we look at this particular coin, good old DNT. Now this one, I was messing with this one for a second here. This one did get listed on a major exchange. And if we scroll out here, it was just totally flatlining, just doing absolutely nothing and just chilling because nobody cared about it. But then as soon as it got listed on Coinbase, one of the major exchanges, we had this gigantic explosion here, right? If we measure this one, that's within less than an hour, almost 400%. Right, so I'm still not that great at math, but that is a pretty serious explosion. How would that work, right? If you put in $100, you would be getting $400, $800, $1,600. No, not that much, but still a pretty considerate gain that happened here. And this was just because it got listed on a popular website. That's all it took. There's nothing really new about. No news, no fancy development in this coin in any meaningful way. It's just that simple human nature of, I don't want to miss out on this thing. And it exploded. But then I guess people came back to their senses and pretty quickly, right? It only took about 2 minutes for the whole thing to crash back down again. And we were all just like, what's going on here? And that I do find interesting. The smaller the coin, the more volatile it is going to be, the more reactive it is going to be to these fluctuations. And, it managed to get back up a little bit after that, but it has been sort of dying down again. I guess people losing interest, and that's just human nature. That's how that works. So no real great surprise there with DNT. And yeah, as we go down the list, they're all going to have this sort of similar reaction, because at least for now, this time period in this snapshot in crypto history, everything is sort of like locked to the Bitcoin, right? We can click on a completely random one. This is Ren. It's also a very popular coin, and same story. Right around 2 p.m. my time. Damn, 16% down. Just a major crash, and I'm sure it's going to bounce back. That's probably not the issue. It just is interesting to track these signals. Man, that audio, the audio is garbage. That audio is garbage.
Well, you gotta fix it, dude. Yeah.
No, I know. It's. What can I say? It's. I'm working on it. There's a lot of pans in the fire.
Okay, well, just do it.
Anyways, I do want to also right, because those are sort of the major coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are all the major sort of coins that everybody is aware of. I think almost everybody on this planet, if you do consume media in any meaningful way, you have heard about Bitcoin and you know what's going on there. It's also been out for over 10 years at this point, so there's been a lot of trading and traction and information spread out around about it, and also trillions of dollars in investment. So nothing sort of really new there. But what is also just fascinating to me and possibly interesting to you is the cutting edge of this whole market when coins are coming out. you don't know what's going to happen, right? They come out, and some people could. It's the same basic human tendencies and psychological effects. When it comes out, people could be really excited about it, and then put a bunch of money into it, thinking that other people are going to be excited about it and spend more money on it. And well, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes all of the hype just sort of lines up, and everybody makes some money. But often, right, just like I was saying before, as soon as that sort of fever pitch is reached, and people are getting the feeling like, oh well, I better take out a loan and just throw it at this coin, or because it's just going to keep printing money forever. That moment in human psychology is usually the moment when the smart people are going to start selling, because they know, well, that's just not how that works. We're going to have to kneecap this and send it on down. So yeah, this coin, this has been leading the pack here for a minute here, right? You see this ticker up here at the top. And this is on Dex Tools. These are sort of the cutting edge coins that a lot of these aren't even really listed on major sites yet, but you can still swap them. You could trade them using Uniswap or any other sort of decentralized exchanges. And yeah, some of these coins are really on people's radar. Some of them are complete scams, because that's the other insane thing about this market right now. Even you listening there at home, you can make your own coin. You could throw a couple bucks at it, put it in the pool, and try and convince people to buy it. And the crazy part, it really is the Wild West out here, right? And this is real money we're talking about. What you can do then is convince people to buy your coin. They can put all their hard-earned money into it, and then you are able to basically take all the liquidity out. Just take the entire pool out and crash the price of the coin. But in doing so, steal everybody's money. You get to steal everybody's money if you do that, and really there's no recourse, there's no repercussions, there's nobody that can come and catch you, because it is all anonymous. And it's sort of trackable, right? You can check it out on the blockchain. You can follow people around. If somebody really is sort of a serial repeat offender, they can maybe track you down, right? But there's still nothing to stop you from opening a new account, having a new wallet, because it doesn't cost anything. It's instantaneous, and you can instantly have a new Ethereum address or anything else, right? So it really is, it's pretty scary out here on the cutting edge, because things aren't proven, right? They're not like Ethereum or Bitcoin, where they have been traded for years, and nobody's worried about that happening with Ethereum or any of these other things. Plus, those major coins are being traded on a bunch of different exchanges and all sorts of different constellations, so it's not really the issue. But out here in the Wild West, here in the Dex Tools Uniswap land, it happens all the time. It's definitely happened to me once or twice, and I would really not like to talk about it, because it's very sad when you put not maybe $20 or something in something, hoping to make some money out of that, and then they just basically steal it from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So if you are interested in this, in getting into this sort of darker corner, this more cutting edge aspect, then I would proceed with caution and try to watch these things a little closer. Right, but for those of you, if you really are in this market, you probably know what this thing is. Keeper with the 3, but right, this is, at least for now, focused a little bit more on what can I say? People that are maybe not so deep into the crypto world as others. So we do have to back up a second here. If we go to what's his name? Andre Kranja. Kranja. Andre Kranja. Kranja? So anyways, this guy, personalities sort of come and go in any sort of culture, and cryptocurrency is no different. But people that do end up getting a lot of buzz and excitement around them, they can move millions around just by tweeting out or talking about something, right? And this guy, Mr. Andre Kranja, I do want to get like a picture of him, because he looks kind of funny, actually. this guy Andre, yeah, check him out. Just he's always got that sort of smirk on him. Maybe it's just the picture that they're always using. But he just a couple months ago when this whole sort of madness was getting started, he came up with this coin here, this Yearn Finance, that found out a way to basically just print free money for people. It was right. You could put your money in the pool and you would be earning interest on the money, just like a bank, but earning insane interest. I think at the beginning it was offering, right, what was the average? Like 3,000 to 5,000% a year, which would mean that you, just by leaving your thing in there, your money in there, you would be earning something like 10% a day without doing anything. You wouldn't have to trade or watch the markets or anything. You just leave your money sitting there and you'd be earning these insane returns. And it sort of sparked this whole sort of new culture that's happening where people are trying to do that, right? It's creating their own banks, creating their own sort of money printing machines. And now that this cat is out of the bag, basically, that you can make your own bank and also earn interest, but not just, right, 1% or 2% on the year, like insane interest. Yeah, it sort of sparked a revolution, and this man, Mr. Andre, is really sort of responsible for getting the whole thing started. So his name, his persona has taken on this sort of like godlike quality to it, and who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with him? But he's definitely. I don't know if this is a Real-Time magazine article. I kind of sort of doubt it. That would be something. But when Yearn came out, I think it went up like 10,000% or some insane number, and dude is just continues to crush it. So everybody was very excited when he ended up coming out with his more recent project. And I lost it, right? Keeper. This is the Keeper network, and it's the same kind of thing, right? You can put some money in here. But there's a new sort of interesting thing here. It's almost like Fiverr, but with crypto, right? You can make a job. You can ask somebody to do something, and you can write down what needs to happen in that job, and then you can throw some money in there. And if the person picks the job and does the job well, that person can get paid, right? And all of this is really, right, if you are interested in the New World Order and all of those sort of, what do you want to call it, sort of the push towards the one world government and the unified but decentralized system where everything is sort of self-correcting, self-policing, right? Just like Uber and the rest of these sort of newer companies, everything is sort of, you don't really need a central authority or anything like that, because everything sort of self-polices itself on what can you say, like a rating system, right? When you're an Uber driver, you want to drive well because, well, the guests can get you fired if you don't be nice to them. And the same for the guests. If you're not a kind guest, the driver will give you a bad rating, and it will get harder and harder for you to get a ride. And all of this is very familiar, right? If you've been looking at the social credit systems of various countries, it's really nothing new. And it's very obvious to me, at least, that all of this needs to get set up in the financial system. We need a self-policing, self-correcting financial system where there is no Fed to sort of reorganize and help us out and goose those interest rates, right? It all needs to be digital. And the thing is, to set up the system, it's incredibly, incredibly complicated, and will take thousands of hours and millions of dollars in investment in research and all of that kind of stuff. And if a government or any sort of single entity was trying to set that up themselves, it would take forever and possibly fail. So it's a lot easier to just sort of let these ideas flow freely and let it be loose here for this phase, because, well, you can get other people like Andre Kranja to do all of this research and development for you, right? How would a job market, a self-policing, self-correcting job market, what would that look like? Well, I don't think Keeper is necessarily the one, but it is, like he says, a beta test, right? Use at your own risk. But I have no doubt that this is where the future is headed, and this is what we will be dealing with sooner or later. And just for that, it is a very sort of interesting moment in time to see this thing be here. Right, and when it came out, people definitely did make a lot of money, right? This is much different than the coins we were talking about before. I don't know if you can see that, if we can get in a little bit closer. But that is almost a 4,000% gain, right, from the very bottom. So if you did buy in there, right, if you put in $1, you would have $400. That would be pretty easy to do. But only if you're smart enough and quick enough to get in there right from the start. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about Andre. But for now, this thing is sort of crashing out. We're back down to almost where it started. Not quite. And man, that audio is garbage.
What is going on with the audio, dude?
I gotta fix that. Jesus. You know, for being somebody that is sort of audio obsessed, I feel like I let you down, you know? I do want to have good audio for you guys. But I guess I'm sort of still running my own sort of personal beta test here. But that's okay, right? I think it's okay. I think and people should be more encouraged to get out there and present something that isn't completely polished, right? Maybe not exactly the way it's supposed to be. I mean, that's what Andre Kranja did. He probably could have spent some more time working out the bugs and kinks on You're in Finance, but he released it anyways, and it became a money printing machine for a while. And I don't know about this channel becoming a money printing machine anytime soon. I don't know if that's gonna happen, guys. But at any rate, it's good to have any sort of attention here. If you guys like the show, just let me know, you know. If you think it's really annoying that I'm talking about cryptocurrency now and I should just go back to full-on news analysis, then let me know that too. I really am curious what you think, guys and girls. Because in the end, right, this is definitely for me to do my thing, but it's also for you, the audience out there, the listeners. If it's not entertaining to you, well, then I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, right? So just let me know. Interact. It takes energy and time to do anything. Write a comment. Turn on the OBS streaming software. This all requires energy. And it's, I don't think any of it's wasted, right? Even though it takes energy, it's almost like it creates even more energy. It's like going to do exercise or something. Keeps you going. It makes you stronger. So I'm interested in getting stronger. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what you think, you know, but I know what I think. I know what my existence is like, and well, I'm just gonna keep doing me.
That's cool. Yeah, be yourself. That's what I try to be.
I mean, it's easy for you to say.
Well, yeah, that's my thing. I just do what I want.
Well, so do I. But there's a good meeting ground between freedom and discipline. I'm still looking for it for myself. I can't quite find it yet. But I know I'm gonna find it soon. I can feel it. And I'm gonna get out of here, you know? It's the end of the show. I wish you all the best, whoever you are. God damn, that audio. So annoying. I'm gonna fix it. Fake truth.
Out. I am out.